Welcome back to Pour Over Marketing. I'm Rob Southgate. You should be able to tell that from the name of the show, but so happy you're here. It's Saturday morning, 8 o'clock in Chicago, nice and early, on the No King's Day, which is pretty interesting, but we're not going to talk about that today, are we? This isn't what the show's about. So let's see, we've got so many things to talk about. We missed the episode last week. I don't know. I couldn't tell what day it was. And then I think sometime, like, I don't know, Molly had a concert. She had a performance that day, and we were there, and I realized it's Saturday. I didn't do pour over. It's going to happen. You, entrepreneur, cut yourself a break once in a while, right? There are things that are unquestionable, immovable, and then there are things that, like, hey, this happens, it happens. So what can you do to offset it? What I did was I did an immense amount of work behind the scenes. So the YouTube channel for New Media Lab, which is the home of these recorded episodes, even though you can't see them yet, I have been building out the entirety of it. Meaning I have taken what's been like a year and a half of pour over marketing episodes, including our few nighttime ones, and I put them all in. So they're all there. I'm building show notes. I'm building show art. And once I feel like, okay, it's time to launch, we're going to put them all on there. That way you can go back. You can watch the different episodes. The trick is, the reason it's taking a while is I want to get tags and keywords in there in the descriptions that match what we talk about in the episode. Because we skate around 6 or 7 different topics every time at least. But overall, we usually walk in with a topic or two that are the main thrust of it. And I want you to be able to go, oh yeah, that's the one where we talked about, Instagram profiles. Even though we talked about it a million times. We talked about Substack and really went into a deep dive on Substack. I want you to be able to go back and see that. So when this project is done, that's what you will get from me putting all of them on there. Plans. I should talk about this. So I did a little market research, and I've been asking friends, people that watch the show, friends of the show, I should say, and friends, what they like about the show, what they want to see changed. So far, there hasn't been much change. It's interesting. I'm at about 50-50. I love it's on Saturday morning at 8. I hate it's on Saturday morning at 8, too early. This show is going to stay here. I am going to get on a more regular schedule with the Thursday night show, and I haven't decided how I want to do it. Do I want to do it later? Do I want to do it earlier? I have to do a little bit more questioning. So if I have people in California and I do it at 6 o'clock, which is a good time for me, or 5 o'clock is an even better time for me, that's 3 in the afternoon or 4 in the afternoon for the people in California. If I do 8 o'clock at night, well, that's good for them at 6 o'clock, but my East Coast, that's 9 o'clock at night. That's 8 o'clock at night here. I would rather catch you before you're settled in, before you're saying, yeah, I'm watching Arrested Development tonight, and I'm not going to stop it to watch Rob talk about marketing. So I think I'm going to go earlier, but I'm going to take some polls. I wonder if I can take a poll on here. Let's see. Post a comment to all. Does it allow me to do a poll? It does not. Okay. No worries. So we'll put a poll up maybe on if we can, on the New Media Lab Facebook page. If not, you know what? Why are we even questioning it? Let's go there now. to the Facebook page. Okay. Let's see. Before I pull it up live, I want to make sure I'm out of my stuff. New Media Lab. There it is. Okay. And there it is. And let's go to present, share screen. Okay. We'll do it that way. Okay, so let's look on New Media Lab. Can I do a poll? It doesn't list polls on here. It's interesting. Some of the things, I think that when it's a group, you can do a poll. When it's just a page, you can't for some reason, but I could be wrong. Let's see if it has a poll listed in here. Do we see it? No. Okay. Okay. Well, so we'll have to figure out a poll and where we can put that. Maybe we can do it. Well, I'm sure we can do it elsewhere. So let's close that. Okay. So we'll do a poll and ask what time on Thursday night works best. You're going to have to do a little math. If you're not in Chicago or in the Midwest, you're going to have to figure out when I say, 6 p.m. CST, what time that is for you. And I know you're probably like, yeah, Rob, duh. I'll tell you what, I've been doing a lot of interviews with people lately, and a lot of people seem to have a real problem with the time thing. If I say CST, they know what I mean, but they don't know what that time is for them. The worst one I had is I just had a guy in England that I interviewed. It was a great interview, lots of fun, horror author. He could not get a grip on that time change. I sent him a website where you can type in Chicago 8 p.m. and it pops up what his in Liverpool, what time it is in Liverpool. We got to rely on our tools, right? So I see one person. I've seen a couple of people pop in, pop out. Hey, if you have questions, lay them on me. This is a great time to ask questions because I don't have a solid topic for today. I know we'll get there. We always do. Always. But not yet. Let's see if I have something more on this. Nope. Can't do a poll. Okay. I'm going to get out of this. We don't need the Facebook distraction. Or introduce yourself. Say you're here. That helps too. One thing I noticed this week. So, first of all, I've noticed I've been doing a lot of work on the Southgate Media Group YouTube channel. I told you I just loaded all the stuff for New Media Lab. There is a New Media Lab YouTube channel that has a few interesting things, and then it has every episode of this loaded in there. Over the next month, those will all be live. Okay. On the Southgate Media Group YouTube channel, I've noticed a few things, and I've been working on it. I've been doing a deep dive on YouTube because I think it's a missed opportunity. One thing I've done is I'm making sure that every episode of our podcasts are over there. Now, here's a great thing about YouTube. You can load it the hell up. I've got 10,000 videos. It hasn't cost me a dime to put those on there. As a podcaster, I'm like, well, there's RSS feeds. People like to have it in their car on Spotify or whatever. Great. Fantastic. But is that the smartest move from a financial standpoint? If you're a new podcaster and you're like, I'm trying to figure this out, I want to create content. Is there a way to do this without having to pay for all that other stuff? Well, YouTube is one way. I'll tell you what, in the UK, overseas, and I'm not sure if it's true of everywhere in the world other than America, but it is definitely of the UK and that whole, Europe. The number one place that people get their podcasts is through YouTube. They don't use the other things. Now, they do use Spotify, but from what I understand, Spotify podcasts here is big. Spotify podcasts there, when people go to Spotify, the bulk of them are listening to music. Whereas if they want a podcast, they're popping in on YouTube. So I've been doing a lot of analysis of this and trying to update things. And I found a few really interesting things. Number one, I've done a crap job with my YouTube channel. I've just loaded it with content. I mean, literally 10,000 plus hours of content. I mean, geez, I just realized there's one thing that each piece of content, so it counts it as one video, are 14 hours. And I've probably got 10 of those. So add that across that, plus all the shows that are hour plus. Yeah, there's 10,000 plus hours. If there's 10,000 videos, there's 10,000 plus hours on there. I've been working, though. I've been going backwards. I've been taking things that are posting now, correcting the show notes, getting keywords, getting hashtags. Use your tools. What did I say 3 minutes ago? Use your tools. So I'm going to, one thing I do is I say, I go to Google and I type in, what are the best hashtags for a podcast about the killing? And it's got its AI response. That's not what you want. I mean, you can look at that, but that's not where the answer is. There are sites. Wow, I've got a frog in my throat here. There are sites like there used to be one called Hashtagify Me, which was fantastic. Then they started charging for it. I tried it as the charged version. Not good. The free version was great. But there are sites that are just like hashtags.com or whatever. I don't even know what they are because I don't have to look them up. I type it in and Google gives me the answers, and the top few are the correct ones. You go to it and you'll get a list of hashtags that are being used by podcasters or bloggers or businesses that match your subject. The other thing you can do is you can go, now this is not hashtags, this is keywords. I know they cross-pollinate a little bit, but they are not exactly the same thing. I go to SEM Rush, which is a website. Now you could go to Google and you could type in, what are the keywords that bloggers use when talking about the AMC show, The Killing, okay? The more information you can feed in, the better, right? But if I go to SEM Rush, I can find, let's say I find another podcast or a blog or a website. Okay, you have a business that makes vintage looking lamps. So they're recreations of vintage lamps. You could type in, you could go to Google and you can search for other businesses that make reproductions of vintage lamps. And you can figure out pretty easily who the good ones are. You may not be able to see how much traffic they're getting or anything. That's fine. But you can get an idea by looking at it like, hey, this is a more professional site. They've been in business a long time. They have all the earmarks that I'm looking for. They have a place I can order. They have a place I can customize. They are good about responding. This is going to be a better business. And chances are their website is going to be designed a little bit better. Now, go to SEM Rush and you can put it in and search their website, and it will give you all this data. It'll tell you keywords that they use. And when you get into that, now keep in mind, we are coming up on Integrated Marketing Palooza. So this is information we're going to cover again, and information that you want to use. But we're going to talk about this in more depth then. But here we're giving a precursor, right? So you go there, you type this in, and it's going to give you keyword data. Now with that keyword data, you're also going to get a breakdown within that, where you can see long tail. You can see the ones that are bigger, the ones that are micro. When you do your use of keywords and hashtags, you kind of have the same strategy, which is you want to have a mix. You want to have a few of the big ones. You want to have a few of the niche ones. Okay. So we're vintage reproductions of vintage lamps. That's what we do. And my guess is you're going to find keywords that are vintage lamps. Maybe some of the designers are going to be listed. Uh, maybe styles, certain styles will be listed, or materials. Those are all going to be keywords, right? For hashtags, you may have some of those same things. You may have some different ones. When you start getting into long tail and wider, you're going to get things like vintage lamp. That's a huge one. Okay. So anybody searching for vintage lamps, reproductions of vintage lamps, might type in reproductions of vintage lamps. Boom. Big, wide, that's going to have the most. Let's say that has 100,000 people searching that phrase. That's where your keyword comes in. What are they searching for, right? But then, let's say you do reproductions of vintage lava lamps. There. So they're not current lava lamps, they're reproductions of these really interesting vintage lava lamps. This is where you've got the big one. You've got vintage lamps. You've got lava lamps. These are bigger things. Then you've got reproductions of vintage lava lamps. That's a keyword phrase that's going to niche it down. But then we can niche down further. You have a Beatles Yellow Submarine. Okay. Lava lamp. Put the date on it. 1985. 1985 vintage Beatles lava lamp. When you look at SEMrush, what you're going to find is it's going to say, if this was 100,000, and then the next phrase down the lava lamp was 50,000, the vintage Beatles lava lamp might bring it down further. 1981 Beatles Yellow Submarine lava lamp might be 10. When you use your keywords, when you're writing your copy, and same thing, I'm gonna say it again because I want you to put this in your brain. When I'm talking keywords, you're using that for show notes, you're using that for blog entries, you're using that on your website, right? You're writing text that has that stuff in it. You can't just say keywords, okay? Although on YouTube you can, but it's not as good. It's not good for Google. Okay, it might be good on YouTube, but it's not as good on Google. Your hashtags are what you use on your social media posts. Okay, it's how you search for topics and that on social media. Keywords are how the internet searches. Social media searches through hashtags. Okay, so for either, we're going to use them both. You want to, there we go. You want to use a mix of big vintage lamps and small. Now, if it's only 10 might be too small. Doesn't mean you can't throw it in there. 50, 100, 1,000, those are pretty small when you take the scope of people looking on the internet. If you're talking vintage lava lamps, it's probably going to be small anyway. Okay? Not as many people are searching that as they are the new Sabrina Carpenter album. Right? Put in Sabrina Carpenter, you're going to get a much higher thing. Now, if you put in Sabrina Carpenter lava lamp, if there is such a thing, there may be 100 people that looked for that. The name Sabrina Carpenter brought the number up, but in reality, there is no such thing. So it's at a zero as far as what their hits are for that. But your post that mentions it now is the one that people go to. So let me explain that again. We've got a Beatles lava lamp. You write a blog post and you mention it, or you talk about this Yellow Submarine lava lamp. Okay. And the internet says, SEMrush says there were 10 searches in the last month for it. Doesn't matter. You're talking lava lamps, you're talking all this other stuff. Write something interesting, something that adds value, and you throw it out there. If you've written something about it that is good, and it's about the Beatles Yellow Submarine lava lamp from 1992, whenever anybody searches for that, you're now going to rank a lot higher because there's only been 10 searches. There can't be that many websites that have it. You've got the article. You're now going to rank number one. Does that mean you're going to have money pouring in? No, only 10 people searched. But that means if 10 a month are searching, 10 a month are going to probably hit your site, which is good because number one, when you have a blog, I've talked about this a million times. You have a blog or you have a Substack, start putting advertising for something on there. Doesn't mean you have to have, I'm selling that lamp. Okay. For me, I might put a small ad about my coaching, you know, sign up for coaching, hit your dreams. Boom. An ad at the bottom or an ad that's written in the text where it's like the description, Rob Southgate is a blank and has this, sign up for a free coaching session or whatever, blank. Got it? That blog is about the Beatles lamp, but I have put an ad for my stuff in there. And those 10 people that went there are now interacting with that ad and they're seeing it. Let's hope that, I mean, if you go by the averages, one of the people clicks on your ad and maybe you pick up a client. I know that seems small. I'm talking really small potatoes. So I'm talking 10. But let's bust this out. What if you rank number one and it's something that 100,000 people clicked on and you've ranked number one? 100,000 people see your ad. If 2% interact with you and you've written compelling copy, that 2% clicked on your ad and 2% from that actually went with you, you now have a thriving business. Or maybe you're doing content, or not content, affiliate marketing. You have your blog. I have this thing about the Beatles Yellow Submarine, blah, blah, blah. What do I know? I know the people that are into that are into lava lamps. They might be into like postmodern stuff or mod stuff. They might be into the Beatles. Pretty good guess, right? They might specifically be into Yellow Submarine. These are all areas of opportunity where you can put ads for things that are related. So you go to Amazon. Let's say you have an affiliate with Amazon. You can create an Amazon ad in there in your affiliate area for like take like 4 Beatles Yellow Submarine related products, a clock, a throw rug, or whatever, and make a little thing that you put down at the bottom that has those products. Maybe it's a carousel and it's just going through, so your blog looks interesting. There's lots of ways you can do this, and hey, that 10 people searched for Beatles Yellow Submarine lava lamps, so they are out there hunting for Beatles Yellow Submarine related merchandise, and you found a few cool things. You went on Etsy and you found some cool things. You went on Amazon, you found some cool things. You found a company that makes cool stuff that you can have an affiliate with, and you put that in your blog, and now you're going direct to people that are interested in that product. This is what I'm working on for all my YouTube stuff, getting those things embedded in there. Why am I interviewing authors if I'm not putting books? Stupid, right? Horror-related things, fantasy-related things, romance-related things, where I can have the potential to make a little bit of money off of it. I'm trying to open up the revenue streams because I've ignored them. I've been so busy creating content for 13 years now and building myself into this producer that I have not taken the time to make my productions into the business they deserve to be. What's going on with your business? Are you looking at those things? Are you doing those things? We go back to the blueprint. Have you got your house in order? Are these the kind of things you're asking yourself when you're building your business house? Each room needs all these things. Are you saying, hey, I know I sell shampoo. That's my product. What are the areas of opportunity around shampoo? And what are things I can do? Number one, to put the word out. Number two, to maybe make some extra money. As a publisher, I look at that and I go, I'll give you a great example with that. So I'm in this group, Books of Horror. They are doing a live event called Books and Brews 2 which is coming up August 2nd at the Wyndham in Noblesville, Indiana. And if you go to my show, which launched yesterday, I have an author interview podcast called Ink Blots. Okay. This week, every day, a new episode is going on promoting PopCon 2 because Writers Row is not there, but Four Horsemen is doing the exact same thing, but they're just doing only Four Horsemen authors. Okay. So there's a Four Horsemen booth doing the Writers Row thing. It's going to be fantastic. So I have a bunch of interviews with people that are going to be there, authors that are going to be there promoting it. I made sure to put on these an ad for coaching, an ad for Four Horsemen and who's going to be there, making it really clear. Then in my show notes, I have the exact same stuff. Click this link, sign up for a session. Click this link, order your tickets for PopCon. Here's Four Horsemen's website. You can order from this author. If you like what we're saying here, you might be in Alaska and you're like, I can't get to Indianapolis. Too much money. But I listen to the show and I think this person's interesting. You can click on the link in my show notes to order their books. Okay? Now take the author thing, take the publisher, take the independent, and there's a model that Books of Horror uses. Now, Books of Horror is the company putting on Books and Brews. Think about it this way. They're a Facebook group. They grew. Then they said, what else can we do? So they started creating events that were not something they had to pay for, but they called it Book Brawl. And what did it do? It pits two books against each other. So they have a big bracket, and it starts out with like 50 books, and people are supposed to read all 50 books and then say, this one's better than this one. Boom. That one goes forward. It's a bracket. Okay. And by the end, you get one winner or a couple of winners. I don't remember how it works in the end, because at that point, you've read so much, you're like, but they started that. And what did it do? It allowed them, number one, through a blog, through a Substack, they can put links to the books that are being talked about. Whether they make money or not, maybe they do that for the betterment of the authors that are part of the brawl. Not everything has to be about you making money. Some of it has to be about you building up your client or your supporter. Okay. But then last year, they evolved it further. I think they've been doing it for 7 years or something. I can't remember. I read. Last year, they started Books and Brews, where they got a local brewery, gave them space so they could bring in authors. And they brought in, I think, 50 authors. It was fantastic. Fantastic. It's what Writers Row wants to eventually do, but I don't know if we'll ever evolve it into that. But now you have an event where you can make money off of the book sales. The authors can all make money at it and meet people. The value to the customer is huge. I had the best time, and I met all these authors and even big names. I stood and talked to Josh Malerman for a while. Josh Malerman's a big horror writer. Then we just didn't talk for a bit. Great guy. We're friends on Facebook now, right? And I'm reading his last book. It's called Incidents Around the House. Hands down, it might be the most scary book I've ever read. It is. I keep reading sections going like, oh my God. Stop torturing me. And that's saying something, because I've read Paul Tremblay's books, who I think writes some pretty scary stuff. And this Malerman one is like gone over the top. Anyway. The other way they make money is they have a thing called book boxes. I think that's what they call it. And they set up on Etsy a shop that they make like a book box where you get a signed book. So I could order Josh's book, let's say, and then swag. So it's kind of like the blind boxes you can buy at like a Comic-Con, or like if you subscribe to something, like if you subscribe to Marvel University or Marvel U, which is a way you can read the Marvel comics online. When you renew your subscription, they send you a box. Okay, there's like the last one they had Wolverine. The whole box was yellow and it had Wolverine's face on it. Then you open it up and it's got a comic, like a first issue comic of something new about Wolverine in this case, a pin, a couple stickers, some swag. That's what these book boxes do. They get some swag, you know, depending on the price. I mean, you could spend some money and you could get one that has, a t-shirt and a hat and a mug and a sticker and a pin and a whatever, right? But they make a deal with the various authors that are part of their group and say, hey, we want to do a book box for your book. So they did one for Whalefall, I believe. I can't remember if they did that one or not, but that's a Daniel Kraus book. And they had, I know they were developing something, and I know I've seen something. I can't remember if they were the ones that ended up doing it, but it was a bunch of things that were themed around Whalefall, another fabulous book. The point is, they've got their house, which is this Facebook group. They're looking at the rooms they have. They're looking at the ways they can promote. They're looking at ideas that can make money. If I was them, I would create a blog where I take the interviews, because I'm doing interviews for them, take those interviews, take interviews, internal things that they do, because they do these internal things, put them in your blog, do transcriptions, and then put links to things. People that are fans, I mean, they've got 60, 70,000 fans. They're going to listen to these shows. I know last year when I did these interviews, I had a lot of listens. And then when I went to to Books and Brews, there were people that stopped me saying, "Oh my God, you're the guy that interviews everybody. Oh my God, I love your show. Great." Now interact with my blog. By the way, for Inkblots, since I launched it this week, I also set up an Inkblots Substack. So if you go to my Substack, mine, the one that says Rob Southgate, you can see Mic Drop, which is the podcasting one, which all of these are they've always been in development. Like I'm always like creating things and then developing, but I'm really close to actually having a consistent thing on Mic Drop. The pour over one, I've been playing with certain things on there. That is going to be consistent starting probably July 1st. And now I started the Inkblots one. And Inkblots is going to be, you can go there, you'll get the interview, you'll get a transcription of the interview. I'm going to start putting a thing called 3 questions on there so that you can get that extra interaction, but only through the Substack for subscribers. It's really great. I'm building it so that it can be a revenue stream, because everything costs something. If I can make it so it's offsetting something that costs me here, so this is making the money, then I don't have to do the other thing. I can make the money here and keep developing the content and everything you want. That's how your business works too. People don't just throw money at you, and you don't just take the money and go, ha! You give up something to get something. They give up something to get something from you. Keep that in mind and develop your stuff with that as a mindset. Boy, I am in full lecture mode. I think it's time to get back to teaching, right? I don't have any questions. I keep seeing people coming in and out. I don't know if they're even into this episode. I think it's been quite good. But that's me, right? There's an example at the bottom. Support our show at buymecoffee.com/SMGpods. So we have a Buy Me Coffee. It's never made us a dime. Okay. I have a plan for it. All I've done with it so far is I've written to some of our podcasters, because we had over 100 podcasters. We had shows that were really popular. And they do the show for a while, and then maybe they stop. Or maybe you become unaware of where they're at now. You ever listen to a podcast, you really love it, and then a few years later, like you fall off, or they've stopped it. A few years later, you're listening to something else, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that's Jay. What's he doing on this show? This is completely different. Well, if you didn't follow Jay, you'd never know that. So on Buy Me Coffee, I'm doing a thing where I ask 5 questions or 3 questions. It's just real basic. Give us an experience from podcasting, like something you loved. How did you get started? And then what are you doing now? And I send it out to our podcasters. I've gotten a few responses. I haven't been real aggressive with it because it's not making anything yet. But I looked at that and I said, there is a potential. There are people that are going to want to know that even if they subscribe $1 a month, if I get a few subscribers, let's say even 5, I now know, okay, it's worth doing a little bit more. And then we get into my strategy, and I do have a strategy. I've looked at the rooms. I've made a blueprint for even Buy Me Coffee. It's one of us. It's a small closet in our room of Southgate Media Group, but it might pull something in. Patreon might pull something in. The blog, the Substack, the newsletter, those all might pull something in. The podcast themselves. I'm trying to find every opportunity where it doesn't feel like I'm just putting my hand in your pocket, because that's not what you want either. I want to sell you products. You want to buy products. This show, I sit here and I talk, and I'll say things like, support me, buy me coffee. I'm trying to do this show, just have fun with it, but I do have to expand it. I do have to start making something with it. And I don't want to say I have a full blueprint yet. I definitely have a strategy that is formulating. Oh, I've got questions. Here we go. Chelsea. I'm liking it, Rob. Sorry, I'm multitasking. Why are you apologizing? You're here. That's what matters. I just didn't know who was here. Here's probably a weird question. All right. Do you have a schedule for yourself for how, when you create content? Do you do your other behind the scenes work and then do what you need to for the rest of your life? Is it strict or loose? I'm just curious because it can become overwhelming and I want to see how others do it. Great question. I'll leave it up here so people can read it without me stumbling through it. It's not a weird question. It's actually probably one of those speed bumps that people have to creating or building their marketing plan. I know firsthand what you're experiencing, Chelsea, because I know what you're doing. And it can become overwhelming very quickly, which is why I'm trying to help people get the plan part of it together. Okay, so yes and no. In the past, I have created a strict schedule. I've had a schedule up that I used to put on the wall right here. My desk was facing that way. I had stuff on the wall behind me. It was great. And it was a big mess, so we had to move things because I will make a mess. And what we did was I had Maeve help me because I am not great at that type of time management. But we made a schedule and we literally broke it down by hours. We had to say, what are the things I have to do? Okay. So I had to I put an hour of social media content creation. I put an hour of podcast editing. It was more than that. I put an hour of research time. Okay. So that I could say for the next hour from 9 to 10, all I'm doing is researching some aspect of what I have to do. It might be as simple as how to create a content strategy. But I'm focused for an hour. That's all I can do. I'm not supposed to do the other stuff. And you know what? Doing this like timetable worked beautifully. It's how I got through when I was doing when we had our podcast network in full swing. There was a point I was not only podcasting a ton of shows, but we had a lot of shows that would be live. So every week, I think at our top, we did 36 shows a week. I was editing all of them. When I was editing them, I was also doing most of the social media. I was doing all the content creation because I had to create artwork for every single one, to create show notes for every single one. I had to edit it down, do all that, put it on. It was a lot. And I made this chart with Maeve that helped me say, how do I get, I think at the top I was doing 36 shows a week that I was editing and doing all that for. Now you can't do that in an hour. You're not at all. So it was multiple hours, but then I had to carve out that time and say, okay, at 11 o'clock, everything gets stopped. That's when we have a little family time because I know everybody's going to be around. I end hard at 5 o'clock was what we used to do. So I had like 2 nights that I podcasted, and then at 5 o'clock on the other nights, bam. I don't care what's going on, hard stop. The problem is, for me personally, that only works for so long, and I fall off. It did work for quite a while, and it was good, but what happened was, and when I say yes and no to this, is I would let it be in flux and not beat myself up about it. When there's 36 shows you're doing, there are days where you go, I can't do anything else but edit. So my schedule goes out the window today, except at 2 o'clock, we stop. We're going out to the forest preserve, or we're, Maeve and I are taking a walk, or the family's taking a walk. I have to make sure that I don't bury myself in this, especially, well, you have to make sure. I was going to say, especially if it's not really making money. But even if it's making money, who gives a crap? If it's making money, I still want to carve out that time because the most important thing is your relationships and your family, hands down. But I did have a schedule, a strict one that I would break all the time. When I didn't have the schedule is when it was overwhelming. And also, here's the biggest thing to me is I didn't have a stop point. If I didn't have a schedule that I was kind of adhering to, my stop point kept getting later. I'd be up till midnight working, and I'd go up and I'd see it, maybe watch a TV show, and I go, I got to go back to work. And I go back down and I'd work, and they go, oh, okay. But you know what? That ate up my life. When I started putting parameters on it, boundaries on it, maybe that's a better way of saying it. I needed the schedule to wrangle me in, but then it helped me create the boundaries that let me get the things done I had to do. I'm going through it right now because I have things I have to do for Horsemen, for my day job. Okay. I have things I have to do for our house. Molly's going to be going to school. I want to be present and involved in all of that. I want every minute I can get with Molly. Right. So I have to be careful about how I balance all this. And then on top of it, I have to be constantly going, what's going on with the blueprint? What can I change? Whatever. By having a set of boundaries, it allows me to multitask. Does that make sense? I hope that helped, Chelsea. Did that help? Write in the notes. I want to know if it helped. I know you're multitasking. And also, Chelsea, as soon as I have your attention again, I got something. I've been looking at things you're doing, and I got one thing I want to recommend. You said yes. Good. Very good. I hope it helps. It's tricky. It's tricky. Boundaries and prioritization are the two things that matter when you're trying to do this scheduling thing. Okay. So Chelsea, this is something a coaching thing, or this isn't coaching. This is consulting. So I really like what you're doing on TikTok for Horsemen. You're doing if you like this, you'll like that. Here's my recommendation. Your lighting is here, and it makes you look kind of washed out. You need to get a ring light. I would Google it. In fact, I'm not going to have something up and ready for you that fast. I'm going to make one that people can see. Here are the products you use. I have a big ring light. I don't even use it because it makes me look like a ghost. I have a lamp that has a shade that works. If I turn it off, it looks more natural, but it looks terrible. Okay. But it's lighting from the front. There's all sorts of theories on how you light, but the easiest thing is get a light more towards the front that brightens you up. Because what you've got now, you look a little blurry, and it's over here. I can tell. Get it up here, it's going to brighten you up. And then I would also look at I would play with the size of the book, because when you're going like this, you're not necessarily hitting the size of the book. So you're not, if you can get it closer to like this and the book goes bam right here, it's going to look better. Those are little nitpicky things. That's the producer in me that gets into that. Honestly, I really like what you're doing. I think it's great. Keep doing it. Okay. But the lighting thing is probably the biggest. Then stop forgetting. Make a note that you put up that says use your ring light. Okay. Because it makes a difference. It makes a difference. It really does. It's just like with the show artwork. Here, I am going to pull up. It's all the front door. Okay. It's all the curb appeal. So when I say it's like your YouTube artwork or your podcast artwork, it is, because those are all curb appeal things. They're the first thing that we interact with. When you popped up this morning and I saw you pop up on TikTok, first I saw a trailer that I made. I like it. I hope that others like it. I hope you guys like it. I don't know. But I popped it up. I saw that and I was like, oh, cool. And then I went, oh, wait, I created this because I'm not in it. And I just watched the video. I was like, oh, good. And I was like, oh, wait, no, this is the one I made for Four Horsemen. Then I scrolled down and then you popped up. A little out of focus. Lighting was bad. And it made me take note. And I was like, okay, if that looked as crisp as the other video, it would have more eyes on it. I hope that makes sense. I don't want to be a jerk about it. And trust me, I've made plenty of these mistakes. In fact, I'm going to show you in a second here. Let's see if I can go to my home page. View your channel. Here, let's view my channel. And I'll show you my mistakes, but I'll also show you why it matters. This is a curb appeal thing. Okay, so we look at this. There's our live thing that's going on right now, right at the top. Come down here. See how these images are nice and full? They look good. Okay. See this one? Doesn't fill the screen. This, you can see my cursor, right? This does not have the curb appeal of this or this. Okay. Here's a change I'm making. So we look at these for read between the lines. They're uniform. They have a nice curb appeal. I figured out people like to get exactly what they think they're getting. So I've started adding this. All the audio only have a thing that says audio only version. I did not do it to these yet. If you click on these, you're thinking you're getting a video. You're not. You're getting this. Okay. These pour overs, I have not created artwork for. These are just the live feeds. That's all this is. Okay. But look at these. Really nice curb appeal. Those look like YouTube videos. What's it doing? It's making more people watch it. Look at this, 275 views on this one. 14 views on this one. This is just a logo, it's nothing. This is a created image. These are new. This one, 103 views, 283 views. Guess what? This is a show nobody's even seen. Why are they getting these? I only put these up 2 months ago. These are from a show Chris and I did years ago. Somebody asked if we had anything cool. I was like, yeah, sure. So I put these up. I was like, hey, here's a show you never heard. Look at this, 283 views. It says 2 years ago, but that's when the podcast was created. I redid all the artwork. These had 0 views or 1 or 2. It's growing. These, I did a crap job. They don't work. This, for TTRPG Insider, does not look like this in Hoff We Trust or Orange is the New Black. That's why curb appeal matters. How your image looks matters. The face, the artwork you're using matters. Okay. I'm done hammering. Yeah, I'm going to close this out. Back to the show. We only got a few more minutes. So yeah, the balance and scheduling is tricky. It actually ties into what I was saying before, though. I think it might have been what I was researching to talk about today. The importance of thinking out your strategy cannot be overstated. Here, in fact, I found an article that's on SEMrush, which I talked about earlier. And here we go. Here's how to create your content plan step by step by SEMrush. Okay. We're only going to talk about a couple of things here, but build a clear content strategy. A content strategy defines your goals, target audience, distribution channels, and other essential elements guiding your content marketing efforts. This is back to the whole blueprint thing. You need to write these things out. What channels are you using? How are you using them? What goes on them? Who's your audience? Where do they go? Example, if I'm trying to promote In Hoff We Trust, that show I just showed you, I'm not going to promote on Snapchat. The people that go on Snapchat are probably on Facebook. Or, I mean, that watch, that would listen to In Hoff We Trust are probably on Facebook. Probably not TikTok. I mean, they're there, but that's not where the audience is. They're on Facebook, probably Instagram, maybe Threads. Those are all platforms that we could probably use for that. Okay. So write down, where is your audience? And then when you have your thing that you're promoting, that's where you put your efforts. That's where you build your strategy. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be everywhere. I'm a big proponent of be everywhere, move where the food is and be everywhere. But start by figuring out who's my audience, as niche down as you can get it. And where are they? You know, you can tell a lot. Age, income level, interests. I'll give you a great example. Before Twitter kind of became, well, it X'd itself out, I had started TTRPG Insider, and I was promoting it on Facebook and some other places. And you know, the weird thing, even though Twitter was in its death throes, the best place to promote it was Twitter. The other podcasts had become a ghost land for Twitter. But for TTRPG Insider, there was a thriving community there. I have to find, if I want to do anything with that show, I got to find, where is that community now? Are they on Threads? Are they on Blue Sky? Do they do it all through Reddit? Sure, I can post episodes in all these places, but where am I going to put my concerted effort? It's going to be where they are. Maybe it's Reddit, maybe it's Tumblr, maybe it's Pinterest. Maybe it's more than one. Maybe none of them use any of that, and they just get Substacks. I'm seeing that a lot. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about ditching their social media for Substack because they're getting more out of it. I think Substack's amazing, but you're not getting the social interaction that you get from social media. So I think you do need to have both. So it says it's easier to understand with an example. Say you own an e-commerce website specializing in fitness products. A very specified content strategy would state that you're going to publish 5 videos per week with a mix of workout tutorials and product reviews. Okay, so there's your content. That's what you do. You say, what am I going to print, or what am I going to post, how often, and where? Okay. Your content, that's your strategy. Your content plan, on the other hand, would say that on December 3rd, I want to publish a YouTube video analyzing the best running shoes between $50 and $100. Okay, as you can see, the strategy sets the guidelines and shapes your content plan. So you've got your strategy that says, here's where things are going and how often and what my topics are. Then your content plan is more specific. And when we get into that, and we're going to run out of time, so I'm not going to be able to show you. I've showed it before, but I've got my secret weapon, where if you get to the point that you are doing that and you are posting every day and you've got your time under control, and you're like, you know what? I want to get something together that's easier. I've got a plan that tells you, like, overarching. Mondays, I do something that educates. Tuesday, I do something that entertains. Wednesday, I promote something I do. Thursday, I promote somebody else. Friday, it's all about engagement. Now that's an example, but I have a daisy wheel that I created that tells you these things. And it helps you say, okay, I want to create this article about running shoes. Okay. Where does that go? Well, that goes into educate. Now you look at that and you go, okay, well, I've got this. This is my anchor for this week, is I want to talk about these running shoes. The best ones between $50 and $100. That's educate. What can I do with that theme through the week for the other posts? Aha. Now you can say, hey, you know what? We've got a book launching this week. It's about squirrels, ninja squirrels. I'm going to share an article, or write an article, even better, about squirrels and their ninja attributes. Okay, dumb, right? But go ahead. For entertain, I'm going to create a meme of, I'm going to take that meme where it's got the girl and she's making the face, and the guy looking back at the other girl who's walking by. And I'm going to put on the girl that's walking by, she's a ninja squirrel. And the guy's looking back, and the other girl is a cat from, like, the cat video, or the cat meme. So it's like cat meme getting overlooked for ninja squirrels. Funny, entertaining. I entertained. That's on day 2. Day 3, so what I'm doing is I'm trying to build a theme of whatever it is I'm trying to promote, or whatever the anchor is for that week. If you can create an anchor for the week, now each of your things can tie to that. To save you time, to do what Chelsea had asked, to, like, wrangle your time. If you do that front work rather than the content creating front work, even if it's this week, you go, okay, everything else is going to pause a little bit while I get this together. And you map out all those things. Here's 5 days worth of postings. Here are the themes for each week for the next 2 months. And here's what I want to post. Now, trust me, you can go and create these things, and they take a lot less time. I will batch create all the time. Example, I have to create artwork for all the different shows. So yesterday, when I launched Inkblots, I had to go and create 3 pieces of artwork for each show, and I had to create show notes for each show, let alone they were all edited down. I had edited everything, got all the elements together over the course of the week. Then yesterday, I took them and I put the pieces together, save, put the next one together, save. It took me maybe a half hour to do 7 or 8 podcasts because I had pre-assembled everything. Then the artwork, I created a framework. It took a little bit to create the framework. Once I created the 3 different types of artwork I wanted and what the framework was, I went in, and it was however long it takes to save, to move, save, move, save. I did all that artwork. So let's say it was 21 pieces of artwork in about 10 minutes. Show notes, took a bit to get the framework, look up links I wanted, everything. Once I had that, it now takes me under 5 minutes to create show notes that are usable on YouTube, that are usable on my feed, that I can use in my postings. I just have to change a few elements each time. Key elements. That's why it takes 5 minutes. I got to go get the about section. I got to get the links that I need. Okay? But it's pre-done work. So that now I could produce 7 shows, fully produce 7 shows. It took me about an hour. Great. Once I get my transcription for it, for each of those shows, it's probably going to take me about 15 minutes on each one to fix and embed links. The links are already there because I just built the other thing. Take the links out of those, add them in here. Wherever I see this name, throw the link in. Now I have a Substack that has everything in it. So we're talking for me to do an entire, what should be a month to 2 months worth of podcast content, including things that can make us money and links and everything. It's going to take me about 2 hours, maybe 3, to create 2 full months worth of content. That's how you do it. And I work from a schedule, but I'm not right now because I've been all over the place with this house project. Okay. So, promo time. Listen to Inkblots. You'll be able to find it on Spotify and Apple and anywhere you get a podcast. Or you can go to Southgate Media Group's YouTube channel, which I showed you, and there will be a playlist. So this week, a playlist with all the videos is going to hit there after a few more get in. I don't want it to be 1 or 2 videos. I want it to be like 6 or 7 videos. And when you listen to that, there's a promo on there for my coaching. A really good promo, I think. And it will send you to my website, southgatesmallbusiness.com, where you can sign up for a session. We can find out, am I a good fit? Is what you want to do something I can help you with? I would love to. This is the time. Everyone's all panicked about the economy and the world and everything. Well, what does that mean? What did it mean last time we went through this? When COVID hit, the gig economy ignited. People started doing things outside of norm because they went, hey, I got to make extra money. I got to find other ways to pull things in. Maybe my job life is fragile, but if I have my art business and it's actually thriving, it offsets everything. And maybe at some point that flips over and becomes my career. But you can't get there without building the blueprint, without having somebody like me help you typically. I mean, I had to go get an MBA to get that help. Not everybody wants to do that. So there you go. Sign up for a session. I'd love to talk to you. And follow Inkblots. Inkblots Substack will be lit up, I think, Monday. I think the first one goes on Monday. So subscribe to that as well. Or subscribe to the Pour Over Marketing Substack. Lots of exciting things around here. Follow me wherever you like to follow. And that gives me data, and I know where my audience is. And if you have questions and you want me to cover a topic, write to me. Look for on the New Media Lab Facebook page a poll going up, or maybe not. Maybe I'll email it. I don't know. I'll put it wherever I can. But watch for that poll. Because I couldn't figure out how to do the poll on Facebook. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. Because that's the other thing I do. I figure it out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great week. I will see you next Saturday.